Steph came up with. On Friday, we got into the top 5 quarterbacks. Maybe some I think the only thing that you were worried about is the controversy with 2 and 3, right? So you had Deshaun Watson
Yeah.
at 2, you had Russell Wilson at 3. That was the only one that you seemed to have some consternation around.
I mean, I think you could flip them easily for me and say 2 or 3. I think both of them are great players. I mean, I have tremendous respect for Russell Wilson. I think he's got this unique ability to lead a team. And if he was playing in Bill O'Brien's offense, and obviously I'm sure people wouldn't want to hear that, he could be just more dynamic and electrifying. But that run-based offense they have in Seattle, which I think gets them behind in games,
Right.
and it makes me worry, because they're not dominant on defense. You see, what used to happen in Seattle, they were great on defense. They could get into an 8-man front and they could dominate you. That you couldn't run the ball on them. They were able to turn the ball over. The defensive front was just much like the 49ers. But now, because the scheme is dead, because they don't have the same talent up front, they have to start playing a too deep umbrella. And all of a sudden, people can now run the football on them more. And they're not the same. So because they're not the same defensively, they should change who they are offensively. But yet they haven't done that.
Let's jump into number 5 on the list here. These are fun. I love doing these with you, the coaches. Now, we'll have the coach of the year odds as well related to the coaches as we jump into them. So number 5 on your list, Mr. Lombardi, is?
Oh, I think it's Mike Tomlin. I think the guy should have won Coach of the Year being 8-8. Mike takes a ton of heat for game management and makes some mistakes, don't get me wrong, which I think are mistakes when I watch him in terms of how he handles the clock and understands it. But in terms of motivation, in terms of getting his players ready to play, in terms of dealing with adversity, I mean, I don't think there's a better guy at a press conference than Mike Tomlin. He's got great passion. The players play hard for him. He understands it. He's adapted his defense, that went from a Tampa 2 structure to a little bit different now. And then he's also been able to understand what he needs to do offensively. He's had a tough locker room. Look, we know how tough Antonio Brown was once he left Pittsburgh. Le'Veon Bell, the same thing. And he's been able to bring these guys together. I think he's an outstanding coach. And for all Steeler fans who want to get rid of Mike Tom, let me say this: he will be unemployed for less than an hour.
Oh, he would be scooped up. So, he does get crushed. He's been there a long time. I think some in Pittsburgh, and those are crazy fans. They're tremendous fans, Steelers fans. I think they lament some of the postseason failures, but it's almost like that was so redemptive last year for Tomlin. The 8 wins somehow, really people respected that season last year.
Yeah, and when they traded the one from Minka Fitzpatrick, I was all over they should have lottery protected the pick because I thought they were going to have a top 10 pick. I did not see the talent level on that team. I thought it was going to be a problem for them to find a way to come back. And, he was able to find a way to play. Now, look, they created 38 turnovers with their defense. Remarkable. They rarely played in front. They were the 23rd team in the league and 27th team in the league in fourth quarter point differential, which means they got caught. But he had them going. The last 3 games of the season, they lost all 3 games. They scored 10 points in every one of those games. They scored 30 points to end the season. It just was when he needed a quarterback the most, he didn't have one. But yet he kept them competitive. He kept them picking from outside the top 10. And I think it's really a remarkable job. I think the guy's an outstanding coach. I think, look, there's no perfect coach, in anything. You have to offset what the inabilities are. And I think Mike sometimes would probably do himself some good if he had somebody to help him with some clock management. But I think he's really good.
He's 25-1 as far as coach of the year at DraftKings. Their win total set at 8.5. Is that a good number? When you think 8.5 on the Steelers this year, your initial reaction is what?
Well, I think, look, if you want to go all in on Ben winning MVP, Tomlin winning Coach of the Year, you really have to believe the Steelers can win this division and win 11, 12 games. And they may be able. They're going to play the Ravens hard. Like, that's not going to be an easy out. Right? They're going to play everybody tough. I think it's all going to come down to Big Ben. Can Big Ben play well? And I'm only concerned with when you look at Big Ben in 19 and the 6 quarters that he played, he didn't play well. He got 4 first downs in the first half against the Patriots on opening day last year. And 2 of them were on the first drive of the game. They couldn't really move the football. Now, in 18, when he had Antonio Brown, that was a whole different story. Threw for 5,000 yards, 34 touchdowns. Truly remarkable. But without Antonio Brown, all of a sudden Juju Schuster becomes the starter. You know, I think this is a good football team. They play 2 home games in the month of September. They go to Tennessee, then they come back and play 2 more home games against Eagles, Browns. I mean, if they're 4-2 and get some momentum, or 5-1 before the Ravens first look into the bye, they got something going.
That number is legit. There's some crazy discrepancies in these futures markets. The points bet, and they must be leveraged. They've got the win total for the Steelers set at 9.5. Now you got to lay a price at -140 on the under. I'm looking at DraftKings right now. They've got it set at 8.5. So very interesting differences there. Okay, Mike Tomlin on Lombardi's list. He's number 5. Number 4. Who do you got in the 4 spot here as far as head coaches?
Oh, I think I have John Harbaugh here at number 4. I think John does a really good job. He's one of the few coaches that doesn't call offense, doesn't call defense, doesn't call the special teams. He kind of manages everything. And yet I think you got to give him credit for his ability to, be very good with clock management, to be very good with understanding what he needed to do to change Lamar Jackson's offense to fit around him. I think the teams play really hard. They're well coached. Don Martindale, I think, is one of the best defensive coordinators. Greg Roman, I think he lets his ego step aside from the team and lets those guys coach the team. And I think he does an outstanding job in that area. There's no doubt about that. I think he is very talented in how he is able to get the team to play at a high level.
And a risk at the time when he was hired, a special teams coordinator, kind of outside of the box at the time, that I think some teams are maybe starting to emulate a little bit, thinking outside the box with these coaching hires, but he was outside the box.
And then the 1 or 2 years in Philadelphia, he became the assistant defensive back coach, which, gave him some cachet to try to become this. But I think he's got leadership skills, which is really the most important thing. It's not what side of the ball are you coaching, is what are your leadership skills? Do you have leadership skills? And I think he does. And I think that's why he's been able to be successful. And that's why I think he's been able to be adaptable, because he's changed what he's done offensively. He's had to. He's made tough decisions. He's fired friends. Juan Castillo, Marty Morningwig. He's had to get rid of guys that he called friends that were with him on other staffs for the best interest of the team.
Lombardi's list. Number 5 is Tomlin. Number 4 is Harbaugh. 3, 2, and 1 coming up next right here on the Lombardi Line, presented by BetMGM. It's VSiN, the sports betting network.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
What's your current thought? I mean, every time you're on, I probably ask you this, but here we are now, mid-May. What are you thinking? On time, delayed, some bastardization of both?
I think bastardization of both is probably the best answer. I don't know. I'm just kind of reading between the lines and what I'm seeing from Greg Tanner from South Carolina had some quotes, and Greg Sankey had some quotes, and some other SEC. I'm reading between the lines that like the SEC is like hell bent on play, and I get it. I mean, they have a massive television deal at stake here. It's the sport that finances their athletic department. Like they are going to do everything, again, move heaven and earth to try and play. Whether that is with abbreviated fans, with students only, maybe the SEC plays only against themselves. I don't know. But I think the SEC, at the very least, is going to do everything they can to play, and I'm sure other conferences will as well. But I think we're going to get some college football. It may be a little bit later. It may be conference only. I mean, there are a lot of things to it, but I would make some sort of college football this fall a slight favorite right now.
A lot of things to get into with Tiger and Phil. Do you like that format where they alternate shots for 9 holes and then they go best ball? And then what do you know about Brady and Manning's golf game?
Having played a lot of alternate shot golf in my life, and I absolutely hated it. It's the hardest thing in the world to do. I'm very much looking forward to that one, too, only because it puts so much pressure on your partner. In the best case scenario, you see it at a Ryder Cup. You see world-class major champions come apart playing alternate shot in the Ryder Cup or the President's Cup, and now you're adding in Brady and Manning. I don't know anything about Tom Brady's game. I have to be completely honest.
Okay.
However, I have had a chance to watch Peyton Manning play, and I don't like those numbers at all that I saw. Because last time I saw Peyton Manning play, it was last year at Memorial. He was playing in the Pro-Am with Tiger Woods, and he couldn't hit anything.
Wow.
So I think I would really love Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson in this match.
Okay, that's plus 175. Oh, Tiger and Peyton Manning, a good size favorite, a 2-1 favorite. That is good information there.
Okay, really the most important information we put out weekly is Point Spread Weekly, and you can get it for free right now. Hurry up and get it, because when one of those sports comes back, you're going to have to pay or cancel. But right now, you get it all for free. Of course, go to VSiN.com/subscribe until a major sport returns. That's Point Spread Weekly for free right now. VSiN.com/subscribe for details. Okay, we do welcome you back here on the Lombardi Line on a Monday as we kick off the week. Lombardi's List, the top 5 NFL head coaches. Tomlin was 5. His coach of the year odds, by the way, 25-1. They're 8.5 as far as a win total with the Steelers. Number 4 was John Harbaugh. His coach of the year odds, 22-1. Win total set at 11. Number 3 on Lombardi's List is Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. But let's go back to Harbaugh for a second. At 22-1, I don't see him getting coach of the year, even if the Ravens win 12, which I like them to win on the over. I just don't see them giving him coach of the year. I think that's, to me, he'd have to do something spectacular during the season to get coach of the year. I would rather play Mike Tomlin. Now, number 3, I think this is fairly easy. I think Sean Payton is an outstanding head coach. I think Sean Payton, I'll tell you a story. Sean Payton was driving back he'd just been fired, I think, at Northwestern, and he was driving to the University of Maryland to become an assistant coach at the University of Maryland, and he got a phone call from the Philadelphia Eagles to say, hey, we have a position open on the staff that you could be John Gruden's basically gopher, and we're going to groom you to eventually become an offensive coach in the league. Bill Callahan knew Sean, recommended him. We brought him in. We interviewed 3 guys for that job. Dirk Cotter was one of them. Sean Payton was the other. And Sean Payton got the job. He started out working it with there was no office space at the vet at the time. So he started working out of his briefcase and a cell phone. And he just kind of followed John around, got a head coach, got an assistant coaching job at the New York Giants. He impressed Parcells so much at that Parcells brought him to Dallas. And that's where his career really started to take hold. That's where he became a head coach in waiting. We tried to hire him when I was at the Oakland Raiders to become the head coach of the Raiders. I thought we had him hired. He went back to Dallas, and naturally Jerry, who's absolutely brilliant at talking the cat off the top of a fish truck, convinced him to stay another year in Dallas, and we lost out. That would have been a significant hire for us in Oakland. But he went there. I think he's smart beyond belief offensively, creative, adaptable. What he's done with Taysom Hill is beyond good. And a lot of what he believes in, a lot of what he does from team building, from being able to demand from the players and coach the players hard, it really starts and ends with Parcells. Had he not had that same experience with Parcells, and I talk about this all the time, Gruden never had a Parcells. So Gruden's really always just been an offensive coordinator who's a head coach. Right? He's never really had somebody show him what it's like to be a true head coach from another system. He was with Mike Holmgren. He was with Ray Rhodes. That ain't the same. So the reality here is what Sean learned from Parcells, he enacts every day, talks to him at least once or twice a week during the season. I think he's outstanding. He's finally got his defense in place. He's demanded from his defensive coaches. I love the Saints. I like their program. The fact that the Saints and the Bucks are at the same number is beyond my own comprehension. I mean, like, somebody's got to show me, Gronk hasn't played in a year. Brady didn't play well the last half of the season, and the momentum just continues to build.
I can't believe that win total of 10 for the Bucks either, but the win total is set at 10 for the Saints, which makes sense. Coach of the year odds for Sean Payton, who's 3 on Lombardi's list of top 5 coaches, 22-1. In division, they're plus 110. As a matter of fact, yeah, PointsBet has the Saints at 10.5. Remember, shop for the best number here if you're making a futures bet. Super Bowl odds on the Saints 13-1. Okay, that was tremendous breakdown of Sean Payton, and that connection to Parcells is really something I always. He must have really liked. What was it about Payton? Because Parcells can be tough.
Well, Parcells is really, as Yogi Berra once said, he can see a lot from looking. So Parcells used to watch Todd Bowles call Richie Pettibone's defense when he played for the Redskins as an undrafted kid from Temple. And Parcells instinctively knew if Todd Bowles, as an undrafted kid from Temple, can learn Richie Pettibone's defense, which I'm having a hard time understanding watching it on tape, then that kid must be really smart and he's probably going to be a great coach. It's the same thing he did with Sean Payton. He's living in the New York area down in Belmar or one of those, or Seaside Heights, one of those towns. And he's watching the Giants and he's watching how Jim Fossil's treating Sean Payton. And he doesn't know Sean Payton, but he's watching how Sean's reacting to the way Fossil's treating him and taking away the play calling and what Sean does in his behavior, and it flat out impressed him. The first time he met Bill Parcells was the day Parcells hired him. So, how you behave when someone's not looking is a true indication of who you're going to be, and Payton impressed Parcells.
That is tremendous, tremendous. Number 2 on Lombardi's list, head coaches. He got his championship. He's number 2. Andy Reid, Coach of the Year odds for Andy Reid, 21 seems like a good price. Win total set at 11.5 for the Chiefs. In division, they're minus 400, huge favorites. And Super Bowl odds, they're 6-1 here. Andy Reid.
I think Andy Reid is one of these guys that Bill Walsh used to say all the time, very few people can coach the quarterback, even fewer can evaluate him. And Andy Reid is in that special club that he can evaluate and coach the quarterback. He's been unbelievable offensive minded. He's been very good when he's had the right defensive coordinator with him, and he's been able to get a lot out of his players. His clock management has never been really been great, but he's been able to overcome it. And he's got an insatiable appetite to create different schemes based on what the players he has. It's really remarkable. He's tough-minded. The Chiefs teams are not soft whatsoever. They're not like the Bears with Matt Nagy. They're soft. They're tough. They'll punch you in the mouth. Same thing with Sean Payton's team. Don't confuse them being offensive coaches with being soft. They're tough. Sean Payton, he wants to get 3 yards. He'll put Taysom Hill. Same thing with Andy Reid. There's a finesse element of what the Chiefs do, but there's also a toughness to what the Chiefs do. So I think his creativity, I think he was destined for the Hall of Fame, whether he won a Super Bowl or not. He's too good of a coach. He's won in both places. He's the general manager, essentially. Even though Brett Veach does a great job for him, he still controls the player personnel. He did in Philly as well. So he's got a good eye for talent. He can build a football team. Only one losing record in Philadelphia. Guy is really a good coach, and I think he continues. He's got, like Belichick, he's got that unbelievable desire to keep working and keep being successful.
Seems to be loved by everybody. Andy Reid, he's 20-1 as far as Coach of the Year. And, I don't know if this means something, but monkey off his back, that partnership with he and Mahomes, they could go on a nice little run here.
Yeah, and I think Mahomes has got the right approach. He's got that Brady-like approach, which he doesn't seem satisfied. I mean, I think they're going to be a hard out this year. Now, it's all going to come back to defense. Can they play as well defensively? I think he made the move to Steve Spagnuolo when he had to get rid of Bob Sutton. Andy Reid's made some tough decisions in his career. Part of being a head coach is you're going to have to make some tough decisions. Nothing's going to come easy for you. So he did that, and I think that was important for him. And they changed. And look, I think defensively was the reason they were able to really be able to win the title. As good as Mahomes was, the defense got some critical stops, especially in the second half, that they needed to get. And a lot of that goes to what they were able to do with Spagnuolo and how they rebuilt their defense.
Number 1 on Lombardi's list, head coaches, no surprise, of course, is Bill Belichick. What the conversation now becomes all time. Obviously, Lombardi, Paul Brown in the conversation, but Belichick he's carving a niche for himself that's pretty damn impressive. Coach of the Year odds on Bill Belichick 10-1. Win total set at 9 for the Patriots. In division, they're plus 125 favorites, and Super Bowl odds 22-1. Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this would be the year to bet him for Coach of the Year, because without Brady, there could be it. If he wins 10 or 11 games, he should be Coach of the Year. I think some of his remarkable coaching jobs is when he's won 12, when he didn't really have great talent and he was able to win games. I mean, that's the amazing thing. I think people think he's been given a bunch of talent, and all of a sudden he just sits back there and doesn't have to do a lot. No, he makes the players better. He makes the team better. He makes the coaches better. He makes everyone better. And I think that's part of why he's so successful. And the other thing he does better than anybody in the league is he manages the game. Again, another disciple of Parcells. He understands how all three phases of the football team tie together and how it has to operate successfully to win a game. And special teams, as much time as he devotes to the kicking game and how he demands from the coaches and the players. Look, as Philip Dorsett said, it ain't easy. It's not easy coaching there. It's not easy playing there. You've got to be fully committed to it. But when you get into a chess match against the Patriots, you better bring your lunch bucket because it's going to be hard. They're going to have moves. They're going to counter what you do. And a lot of that starts with the head coach. His vision for being able to see the future is remarkable. Just think about putting in the goal line nickel defense against Seattle, never calling it until the last play of the game is remarkable. What's even more remarkable is not calling timeout when everybody was screaming for it, to see the non-obvious. I think that's why he's so successful. And the passion that he has, the competitive stamina that he has every single year to be able to be the best, don't underestimate that. He likes the process. So with Brady gone, he likes the process. He's not complaining about who he doesn't have. He's coaching who he has.
Well put. Tomlin 5, Harbaugh, John 4, Sean Payton 3 on Lombardi's list, Andy Reid 2, Bill Belichick 1. Who's the first one out? I'm going to guess either Shanahan or Carroll.
I really like Shanahan. I think Pete Carroll's really good. I thought Pete Carroll probably should have been on the list. He could have been 5. I think Kyle's got to really become more of a head coach. He's got to take over the defense. Kyle's his general manager, head coach. He's got to demand more from his defense because I think there's a lack there. But I think that's certainly the place that I would look for. But I think Kyle's an outstanding young coach.
That's a lot of fun. Good job with stuff with the idea. Lombardi's list. We're going to keep doing them. Michael, have a great Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You too, Patrick. Thank you.
Okay. He's at MLombardi NFL on Twitter. You want to find us here at VSiN. We're at VSiN Live. Remember, the information you're looking for, it's all there. VSiN.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Lombardi Line. Remember, noon East, 9 West. So join us Monday through Friday right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Lombardi Line.
New to VSiN, the best way to learn more about sports betting and how VSiN can help you is to sign up for our free daily email. You'll receive an email every morning with show highlights and expert insights. Sign up for free today at VSiN.com/email. That's VSIN.com/email.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
There's other issues that show